Weirdos, what is up? Man, like zits all over me, man. What the fuck? Anywho's. Ugh. So, I'm here a little early, making sure that everything's 5 by 5. So if you guys are out there in the outer darkness, let me know if you can hear me and see this ugly mug. This ugly mug. A little bit early. We're gonna wait till 8 till we jump in proper like. So tonight we're going to talk about Kaiju in Weird World War II. Yes, it's a secret. Shh. No one knows about it yet. But that's what we're going to talk about. Again, we'll wait for a couple minutes. So if anybody's out there in TV land has played this Axis and Allies, what was it? World War at Sea. Is it any good? So, like, we plan on playing a bunch of weird war, naval stuff, right? But, I'm not much of a naval player. I've played some stuff in the past. I don't own anything naval. And I just picked a set. I've had this for a while, obviously, or I probably have gotten the Warlord one or something different. I don't know. I just picked one. This one looked like it was pretty fun. And I got this for like $5. It doesn't have any. It's just the rules and the templates. They're like the markers and shit. So I don't even know if it's worth anything. I haven't played it yet. So if you guys have ever played War at Sea, let me know if it's any good. I mean, it comes with pre-painted minis. That's pretty cool. I'm sure they're fucking expensive as hell now, but whatever. That's the plan. I need to find some cool, some minis or something for it. Okay, about a minute, and we'll jump in. Just getting all this. I've been painting. I'm on my painting table, so I'm gonna get some of this out of the way, so I got some room, so I can stretch out and do my conversation with you guys. There we go. All right. Well, it's 8 o'clock enough. It's 8 o'clock, guys. Weird War II, ding, 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 is on the march. So, the title of tonight's show is Kaiju used in your weird World War II gaming. Okay? Let me cue the song. Get ready. Here it comes. Kick it. Imagine you're in your U-boat surfacing, and then, sir, there's something over there. Guess what? Oh, that's it. And all you guys out there, voice support fans. Awesome. All right, that should get you in the mood. All right, so Kaiju. So depending on what your scale is, Kaiju can be really feasible on land battles, or it could be way, way, way out of scale. Now, I know a lot of you guys are into 40K, and they have Titans or what do they call them? What are they called? Titans. Titans or Paladin. Whatever. Titans, right? I guess in your games of Weird World War II, you could pretty much play Kaiju like that. Have those are your Weird World War II Titans. Now, Kaiju traditionally, I don't know, if we're talking about the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla has been through lots of different stages. He's been like the bad guy. He's been kind of like a reluctant hero. He's been like the savior of fucking Earth, and then he's like he's the complete like saver of nobody, but destroys the planet or whatever, right? So Godzilla, so in your kaiju's in your game doesn't necessarily have to be like monsters. These things can be like giant robots, the giant war machines. Like you got the Japanese have created, giant robotic, fucking robots or ships that transform into giant robots when they get to the land or whatever. Now, and then you can have like supernatural monsters, or you can have like some sort of sea monsters. You could have aliens invading that are giant. Cthulhu can wake up and all that stuff. All some of the elder gods come to Earth and join in the fun. But so let's take it in steps. Let's go to land combat with your kaiju. Okay, now depending on your scale. So like if you play like 15 mil or lower, right, you can it'd be easy for you to pick up some like, big toy monster toys, that big. They're out there, Godzilla toy, you can pick up and use that for your 15 mil or lower. And obviously the kaiju is bigger and bigger against your forces. So you can actually use, giant robots, dinosaurs, weird aliens. And there's all sorts of model kits, guys. Like you can get 135 scale kits, 148 scale. 135 is pretty popular scale. 148 is a popular scale too for like robots and shit. So you could pretty much find whatever you want in 15 mil or lower, for your land kaiju. You could pretty much find whatever you want in 15 mil or lower, for your land kaiju. Now, so when you get bigger, when you're talking 28 mil or you're talking like or higher, kaiju may be sized out of that field, out of that table. Now, not to say that there aren't some. I own the HorrorClix Cthulhu. Cthulhu worked pretty good, probably against 28 mil there. I wouldn't use that as Cthulhu himself. It'd probably use him as one of his star spawn, because Cthulhu is supposed to be massive. But I guess technically in the story, he's able to change his size. So, you can come up with some fucking, reason to like, some background story where they can be smaller than they are in the books. What is this? I got like a dot on my freaking, it's like a zit or some shit. Dude, I'm like 50 and I'm still getting zits. Anyways, but also I've got the HeroClix Fing Fang Foom, which is massive. It's fucking massive. That could be a pretty good sized kaiju. Now you can even use your 40K stuff for this. I can't remember all the names for the different kind of Titans, but I know that they make like smaller Titans that you could use on your games, and you can just paint them up, make them fucking Japs or make them Americans, or you can paint them up however you want. So there are choices for 28 mil and higher, but it probably gets a little bit out of scale for the game, and you might have a hard time finding like suitable kaiju models or toys that fit that aren't really expensive. Now, again, when you choose this, again, depending on your scale, your land combat scale, you got all sorts of choices. So let's go to aerial combat with kaiju. Now, that's fucking cool. You can have like, you don't even need the kaiju. You could probably just, because usually air combat is like, it's supposed to be 3-dimensional, but it plays pretty 2-dimensional, right? You can just put get a cutout of a head of a kaiju, or like the top part of it, and put it on your aerial map. And you can move that thing around, and then just like you won't need a physical model. You can just, like I said, you can just have like the head of it or the shoulders, cut out and put it on top of your aerial map. And then you can fight come up with some cool rules about fighting. You know, you're fighting the monster, and it can, you know, it could swipe at you and could spit like fire out or whatever kind of weird, you know, has laser eyes or shoots, you know, like thorns at you like missiles or something. So that'd be kind of fun, you know. And again, looking down like from looking from the top, looking down, that'd be kind of cool. Um, and again, I think it would be mostly probably the aircraft fighting against the kaiju, or the kaiju's on someone's side, and or multiple kaiju's fighting each other and the aircraft. That'd be kind of cool. Now, you can actually have flying kaiju too. I guess you can come up with, you know, whatever giant bumblebee monster or some shit, or wasp or whatever. And again, depending on the scale that you use for your aircraft, you know, more than likely aircraft are usually relatively small. So you can probably find a kaiju that fit that scale pretty easily. Or again, you can just, you know, cut out the head and shoulders of whatever kind of monster you want to create, paint it up all cool, and then just use that as like a template that moves around, you know, on the bottom of the field. Now, I think what kaiju would really come into play is naval. I think that the scale of naval would really allow most people to pretty much buy whatever kind of, you know, monster that they want to use and play it in a naval combat. You know, let's just say Godzilla. He's the biggest one, the most famous one. And you know, Godzilla's fighting. He could be fighting for the Japanese. He can be fighting against the Japanese, or you know, these kaiju could be like third-party creatures and enemies that are pitted against all the forces at play in the game. So you know, you know, you can make the rules where the kaiju like attack the closest model or the one that whatever you know mechanics you come up with. But again, I think naval combat will allow you to buy pretty much anything kaiju wise, you know, giant monsters, giant robots, whatever, in the scale that you want to play it in. You can even use, like, I'm thinking of, like, off the top of my head, I know Reaper makes like a Cthulhu coming out of the water. That'd be perfect for a naval combat game. And then there's all sorts of kind of like sea monsters, you know, like tentacles coming out, or like, you know, like a shark coming out of the water. It could be like a megalodon, you know, like a giant megalodon, you know, attack unleashed against the enemies. See, I mean, think of that. So let's say like let's say like Germany. It's like Germany's like, okay, look, you know, we don't have the surface fleet to take on the Brits like we should, right? And the U-boats are getting fucking hammered. So this is what we do. We concede the oceans, and we just create like some sort of like super sharks, like megalodons, right? That are like really big, and just fill the seas full of this shit, right? That are meant to attack. They train them somehow to attack like surface vessels or submarines, anything metal. There you go. You got like shut down the whole Atlantic, or if not the whole planet, because you got all these giant sharks, you know, fucking destroying everything. Unless you have, you know, Jason Statham out there, like, you know, on a jet ski, destroying them all with a fucking spear or some shit. But kaiju, I mean, again, you know, you know, a lot of people might scoff at the idea, but there's no difference than like Titans in your game, or you know, like fucking if it's historically accurate ancients, it'd be like the fucking elephants, you know, giant elephants roaming the battlefield. Now kaiju, let's talk about like actually using them, like their motivations and their abilities or whatever. Because kaiju are like make believe, there's nothing real about them. They can be anything that you want. So that's basic. That's probably the best kind of fucking thing you'd want in Weird World War II, because you can design the backstory, you can design their abilities, their motivations. You know, if they're being controlled or uncontrollable. You know, if these battles are like meant to destroy the kaiju, or like, you know, or hell, it could even be like trying to save it. Maybe it's let's say like Japan. Maybe Godzilla's the protector of the Japanese islands, and the Japanese are trying to protect him from the American onslaught or whatever. I don't know. You can come up with all sorts of crazy shit. Aliens would be a big like possibility. You've got alien, giant space critters landing on the planet, and they're like big. And they're destroying your. We're talking like they could be like, what is it that Cloverfield? They just show up like out of the water. They just pop out and start killing shit and going crazy. And I bet I would because this is a game. You'd want. I think you would want your mechanics to reflect that they can be destroyed, because I mean, you don't want some Mary Sue giant monster on your battlefield that can't be, at the very least, driven off the field in a win. At least a partial, a token win. But we've used kaiju before in the past, and they're devastating. We couldn't kill them. And we used them in 28 mil. We came up with some story where, they were able to be driven off in a certain way, almost like the smog thing where, there's a chink in his armor and you had to like actually hit that point on the model to actually hurt it or to drive it off. So, you had to line it up. And while, you're trying to do that, it's like the Death Star trench, right? But it's a giant fucking kaiju instead of an exhaust port. And while you're trying to line up that shot, it's swiping at you, it's breathing, fire breath on you, or trying to hit it with your tail. But you can come up with all sorts of cool fucking games having a kaiju in play. I think and again, I think like the third party aspect of it would be that drive it, has AI that drives it, and it randomly appears out of the murky depths or out of the sky, descends out of the sky out of nowhere, and attacks whatever. I think there's a lot of room. There's a lot of possibilities with kaiju and kaiju size like robots and shit in weird World War II gaming. And I think it would be really, again, like we're talking about, I think the optimal scale, if you're playing land, would be 15 or less. And then if you're playing, aerial and naval, would be pretty cool. I think you'd have a lot of options for that. But I think it'd be cool. You have like, because I've seen there's been some pictures out there where like some guys have like a T-Rex with a 50. It's not quite a kaiju, but you got dinosaur, and then there's the great line of minis from Eureka that have like dinosaurs, with like Germans on them with like flat guns and all sorts of crazy shit. But yeah, that might be a cool idea. If you're a smaller scale war gamer, and give you an idea to do some weird war, you throw in some fucking kaiju. That'd be pretty cool. Lots of cool movies out there to give you inspiration. I would suggest go to there's a kaiju wiki, right? And they have like a list of like all the different kaijus from the different companies and whatever. So go check that shit out. I'm sure they make toys of the. If it's listed, was it Toja or Toho studio that does all the Godzilla stuff? Shit, if Godzilla fought it, they made a toy of it in some scale somewhere. So that's definitely a possibility there. And there's lots of other giant monster movies. Now there's actually like stories during World War II where there's sea monsters and all that kind of crap. So you can re-envision those. The one that comes to mind is the U-boat that's off the coast of Scotland, I believe, or Ireland, and supposedly the U-boat surfaced because it was attacked, and then the sea monster just destroyed, like jacked it up real bad and sunk it. So there you go. You can do that kind of stuff. Um, I like the idea of like I kind of like the idea of like giant flying kaiju. That'd be kind of cool. You know, like if you're playing aerial combat, you can just like introduce these like again, just going off like of many lines I'm familiar with. Like like I know that 40K has like those gargoyles, like the Tyranid things. You can use those as some sort of weird like alien monster, attacking the aircraft. You can fight those. Um, but yeah, lots of possibilities, lots of mini lines out there that you could take from and use them against 15 mil or lower. 28 mil might be a little, again, a little bit challenging, but there are some stuff out there, especially if you look outside the box. If you're looking at model kits and toys, you might get a good way to go. I know that we have the King Kong. There's some pretty good King Kong toys out there, real big ones. They're pretty good, and they fit pretty well with 28s. But I don't know if you would use King Kong in a naval size game because he'd be way too big. But again, it might not be King Kong; it might be something else. But yeah. So think about kaiju. Giant robots, aliens, whatever. Introduce them into your weird World War II. I think it'd be fun. It would definitely need. It would probably push the limits of most gaming mechanics. But hell, dude, you guys can fiddle with that stuff and fit it in whatever rule system that you're using. Don't be afraid to alter the rules and add fucking kaiju. All right, guys. Well, we'll make this a short one. I was on earlier, and I this was kind of a spur of the moment kind of topic. But if you guys have kaiju in your gaming, and you have cool ideas or even mechanics or even rule systems that you suggest that might power these kind of creatures against in a World War II setting, let us know in the comments below. I'd like to check it out. And if you guys got kaiju games, like on your blogs or on your channels or whatever it might be, shoot us some links and let's check it out. All right, guys. Well, short and sweet. Whatever you do, keep it weird. See you later.